Hello and welcome, or welcome back to Language, Culture, and Dr. Lou. And today let's talk about some words that are rare but useful if you know them. And I'm going to have them alphabetized, so I'll present them in alphabetical order, but we're only going to do A to G because I have more than one word per letter of the alphabet, and I didn't want this video to take 4 hours, so we're sticking for from yeah, from A to G. So what kind of words am I talking about? For one, we've got axismus. And so axismus is, well, the pronunciation is you need both C's are pronounced. First is a hard C, k, and second is a soft C, sh. Um, and also the S's too. The first one's a soft S, the second one's a hard S. So exismus. And this is, I like this word a lot because it's a noun used for if you are displaying exismus, then you're pretending to be totally disinterested in something that you actually really want. So this is just, yeah, just an act. You're pretending like you don't want something, but even though, you really do. So that's to display exismus, is, yeah, pretending like you don't want something, even though you really do. And another word starting with A, of course, is acumen. And acumen is a noun, of course. So if someone is showing their acumen, they are showing that they can easily make decisions or learn important things about a certain topic. And yeah, so they're displaying acumen if they're really, really good at something because they know a lot about it. And so they can easily decide what to do. And yeah, that's something I often used to describe lawyers. Like if a lawyer is really knows their stuff and is really arguing a good case, I would say that they are really showing or displaying their acumen. Um, and so the next one also starts with A, and actually it's two because I wanted to talk about the adjective anachronistic, so I couldn't go without mentioning the noun anachronism. And so this one we can tell what it means by, well, by the roots. The chron, chron part, that's about time. And Anna, A-N-A, that's about being against, well, being outside of. And so it's something that doesn't fit on the timeline, aka if something can be described as anachronistic, if it does not fit its historical context. And so if you can describe something as anachronistic, the noun we could use for it is an anachronism. And so obviously Abe Lincoln listening to a boombox is totally anachronistic because either Abe Lincoln must have traveled in time to when we had boom boxes, or that boom box must have traveled in time to back when Abe Lincoln was still alive. Either way, and so that's why I also included a little picture of Marty McFly, who had traveled back in time to when his parents were in high school, and he didn't exist yet. But anyway, yeah. So that's anachronistic, and so again the noun is anachronism, and anachronism is something that is anachronistic because it really is sort of a weird time traveler. It doesn't belong in its historical context. It's out of time. If you want to see a movie with a lot of anachronisms in it, watch Mel Gibson's movie Braveheart, because for one, people didn't wear kilts back then. All the Celts in that movie are anachronisms. Just uh, just saying. Anyway, so there's that, and I have two more words that start with an A. First, anthropomorphize. And anthropomorphizing is assigning human characteristics or human qualities to animals or inanimate objects. Some would also say when we assign human qualities to gods, we are anthropomorphizing them, but don't want to touch that with a 10-foot stick because that touches on religious belief and all that. So we'll stick to the animals. And so any talking animal you've ever seen in a cartoon or even live action, that's that is to anthropomorphize them. We are anthropomorphizing, for example, Alvin and the Chipmunks or Scooby Doo, or even that raven in the Edgar Allan Poe story, who says nevermore. Um, we're giving him human characteristics. And yeah, so I do like, yeah, anytime you're seeing yeah, talking animals on TV or in the movies, that's somebody bothered anthropomorphizing them for entertainment value, probably. And anthropomorphizing is also when you make your stuffed animals talk and give them personalities. Yeah, same thing. And so the last A word that I have is from the Latin term spelled the same way, but in English we say apprecate. And that is simply basking in the sun, really soaking in the sun somewhere. If you're humans, often we might call that sunbathing, but I'm sure you've noticed that cats love doing this, just um, getting all warm, laying in the sun. And yeah, and I do find the fact that hippos also do that pretty adorable. And so yeah, so that's to applicate is to really soak in the sun, which is also something that I like to do, as well as other humans anyway. So that's all the A words. So let's move on to B. A bastion. Originally, a bastion was like you can see in the one picture all the way down below me, something very fortified, a structure that is very fortified. Um, so fortifications and whatnot. But that's not how we usually use it now. Because, well, the term stronghold really fits for this. A good synonym for bastion might be a stronghold. And usually we use the word bastion to talk about an institution or a person who sticks very firmly to their principles. So that's why I have a couple pictures on university campuses of some universities acting as bastions of free speech. And that's also why the picture of Liz Cheney, because some people would say that she was a bastion of law and order when she co-chaired the January 6th committee. Some people, anyway. There are others who who would disagree with that. So let's not get into that. But that's one example of where the word bastion could be used by some. And so another B word is to behoove. And that's a verb. And you might have heard the expression, oh, it would behoove you to blah, 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 right? So why we use that expression is to behoove is to be necessary or important to do something else. Um, like it would behoove all of my students to do their homework and to study the materials for class, right? That that is one use of behoove. So again, behoove is a verb that we mean about it. What would behoove you? Anything that's important or even necessary to do, that will behoove you to do it. Anyway, And so not to be confused with behold or behave, behoove, simply. And so the last B word I have here is burgeon, which you might recognize this verb as the root of the word burgeoning, right? And so what is to burgeon? It, it is to grow noticeably or to flourish. So if something is really growing very noticeably, we say it is burgeoning. And so that can be used when you're trying to get plants to grow, especially. And also when you're talking about products that become really successful because all of a sudden they're a big trend. Everybody wants one. That product is certainly burgeoning. So yeah, so that's the word burgeon, and that's all the B's. And so now let's get to the C's. Convivial. This is a nice adjective, and we can use the adjective convivial to to describe a person or an atmosphere at some place. And so convivial is someone or something that is great company, pretty much, meaning words that come to mind are joyful, enjoyable, kind, and so I thought the pictures of these cows was a good example because up top, the cows are just there being normal cows. Now, imagine if cows were convivial. That's the picture on the bottom there. Those are two cows being convivial. And so, of course, I'm anthropomorphizing those cows when I do that because these are things that humans do, not cows, right? Anyway, so what other C word do we have? Conundrum. And conundrum, you probably already know this word. It is something, well, it's a problem that doesn't have an obvious solution or an obvious correct answer. Yeah, something that doesn't have a very obvious correct answer or any very evident solution. We could call a conundrum, just like the whole chicken or the egg theory. Because, sure, yeah, biology can tell us that chickens evolved from tyrannosaurs over the course of time, but it gets very, very difficult to try to pin down uh, what came first, the chicken or the egg. I might contend the egg because in order to be a chicken egg, there had to be a chicken inside it. And wait a minute, that means maybe the chicken came first. See? There you go. It's a tough one to solve. So that's a conundrum. It's a problem or, well, a situation that doesn't have an obvious solution. And so we're not really sure how to fix it, how to reapply to it. And so credulity is, I love that word too. A lot of these words might be good if you're trying to write an essay, or let's say you want to just impress people with your vocabulary, with having the exact right word for something. And credulity, this, well, this reminds me of the Wile E. Coyote always falling for the Roadrunner's tricks. Like, how can you just paint a tunnel on the side of a wall and then have the coyote think it's truly a tunnel? That's because he is showing his credulity, and credulity is a willingness to believe that something is true, even without proof. So if somebody is showing their credulity, um, we will probably call them gullible. Yeah, probably gullible is a good word for somebody who has a lot of credulity. Anyway, so credulity, this is not a good thing to have. This is going to steer you awry because blind faith is not always a good thing, right? And so crepuscular, this is probably my favorite word, starting with C here. And why do I love this word? Because it describes cats and skunks and bunny rabbits and deer. Oh yeah, I have a fox here. It describes foxes as well. And everybody knows the adjectives nocturnal and diurnal. So nocturnal, these are things that are really active at night, only during the nighttime. And diurnal, these are things like us humans who are really active during the day, mostly active during the day. Now, crepuscular describes rabbits, cats, skunks, and deer because it describes things that flourish that are really, really active around twilight. So they're really active around the dusk and dawn hours more than anything else. And so, yeah, they flourish in twilight. And so I wanted to include this one here because I do love this word and because, well, to help people understand that we don't just have nocturnal and diurnal. There's something else too. There's something else crepuscular for the things that are really active around twilight. And I forget the word. I should have looked this up, but I forget the word. There's also a word to describe an adjective to describe an animal that's mostly only active when it eats. It's mostly only gets active when it wants to eat. But that's not timeline related or related to it the time of day. So yeah, let's leave that one out of the conversation. And so moving on to other letters of the alphabet, we get right. Oh, already there we go to E. Um, I guess I didn't have any D in this mix. But edify, to edify is a verb, which is to build somebody up, either intellectually or morally. And so this is a word that people use concerning church and teaching people about Jesus, for instance. Um, they might call this edifying them. And also educators, professors, teachers, etc. We try to edify our students by building them up intellectually. And you can even edify yourself if you, let's say, yeah, a prisoner who's in prison who ends up learning a lot, reading a lot about different case laws and things and different laws and precedents and all that to really be able to fight their case and fight their appeal anyway. Um, they're edifying themselves. Someone can, yeah, do a lot of reading and a lot of studying to edify themselves in a certain domain or certain area. So that's to edify is to build somebody up either intellectually or morally. Either way, it still applies. And so egregious is one of my favorite E words because we don't have a lot of words in English. This is an adjective, of course, and we don't have a lot of adjectives to describe something that is extraordinary but really, really bad at the same time. And that's what egregious is. It's an adjective. And so that's, yeah, something like is, wow, that's so far out of the ordinary, but oh my God, that is so bad. That's egregious. So if you've ever been accused of, if anybody says, oh, your egregious behavior, um, yeah, they're really they're really scolding you. Egregiousness is not not a good thing. Anyway, but I do like it because it's yeah, it means extraordinary, but in a really bad way. And so I think that's cool. We have a word for that. No, another E word is to eschew. And to eschew something is simply to avoid it, or maybe even to shun it. Um, so if you are, yeah, avoiding smoking or avoiding drinking, you are issuing it. And so, yeah, it's that simple. You can also sometimes issue people, but I just figured I would keep this just with objects for now. because I don't want to get into into any of that, into the social construct of yeah, when we eschew concerning people. Anyway, so let's move it on from E to F, and we've got fatuous. If you don't know the word fatuous, it's all about something that's foolish or silly. Something that's really funny just because it's super silly and super foolish is fatuous. Like like when a clown is wearing super big floppy red shoes, those shoes are very fatuous in nature. And the clown, if a clown is especially fatuous, they're gonna have one of those noses that squeaks and all that. Or yeah, or something really fatuous that I put one example on would be a dog wearing a pink wig. Anyway, so that's yeah, that's fatuous. It just means silly, silly in an apparently foolish kind of way. Like one of those chattering sets of plastic teeth, especially if it comes with eyeballs on it and whatnot. Those are fatuous too. So that's fatuous. And hold on. Sorry. And so fatuous is very silly, 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 and so can often be seen as a good thing. Whereas the next word, also an F word, fractious, that's not silly at all. That's actually that word is an adjective usually used to describe children or badly behaved pets. And simply put, what does it mean? Bad-tempered, irritable, quarrelsome. Like this is someone, whether it be an animal or a human, a little kid or a cat or a dog, someone who is just sort of pre-primed to fight. Like they're gonna argue with you about it, or well, in the animal's case, the fights might be, physical anyway. But yeah, so that's a word to describe if a little kid is being badly behaved and they're just fighting you on absolutely everything left and right, they're being fractious. And yeah, so that's and it's not good if you have a fractious pet because those are very hard to control and hard to live with and everything, but it happens. So there's all the F's I wanted to share, and I wanted to finish off with one word starting with G, which is to galvanize. And I'm not talking about galvanizing steel. I'm not talking about metalworks or anything. To galvanize as a verb, this is when you stimulate someone to act. Like you stimulate someone or inspire them to do something in particular, that is to galvanize them. And that's why I have so many pictures related to politics because one thing that is like all these get out the vote efforts, pushing everybody to come out and vote, that is a way of galvanizing people to exercise the right to vote and to have an impact on the vote. And of course, I had to do a picture of Elon Musk from when he was trying to galvanize people to vote for Donald Trump by doing his $1 million giveaways for the 2024 election for people who would vote. Anyway, yeah, so that's galvanized. And it is not just in politics, but yeah, we see politicians doing this a lot. You're trying to get people to vote or getting people to vote a certain way or trying to get people to spread a certain message around that will support you and your candidacy. You're galvanizing them. So yeah, that's to galvanize. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please do give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed it, um, there will be more to come. And please do let me know in the comments if you have any rare but useful word that you would like to share. That would be really fun. And so, yeah. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one. And so until then, catch you on next time. Bye bye.